Hey everyone, just wanted to reach out to everyone and create a short video on how to do Facebook live streaming with audio. So I've been spending the last 3 weeks trying to figure this thing out, and I would like to consider myself relatively tech savvy. It seems like a really simple process, and actually it is fundamentally, and I'm going to show you how to do it. You only need a few things to get started, and then you can choose your platform. Facebook is the one that I've been using because I get the most likes and friends and get the most views from that. There's a lot of other areas that you can do it. You can even live stream on Instagram. But the key has always been, how do you get better sound? If you're using a device like your iPad or your iPhone, it's really difficult. It sounds okay, and you can make it work. And I've actually made it work for the last 3 or 4 weeks. With all the things that we've been dealing with in the world right now, a lot of musicians have turned to playing inside, doing live streaming, and trying to get creative with videos and whatnot you can find on YouTube. In order to figure all this out, I had to ask a lot of questions. What I can say is that if I can figure it out, I think you can figure it out. But it does take a little bit of work, and it does take a lot of trial and error. There's lots of different ways you can do it with interfaces as to using your computer. Now, the system that I'm using is going to include an iPad, a couple of cables, a mixing board, a microphone, and regular setup as if you were almost doing like a live show but without the speakers. Once you get set up, then all you really have to do is test it out. It's best to use a partner, have someone that you know. It doesn't have to be a musician, but someone who's got a good ear for what you're listening for. So let's take a look at a few things that you're gonna need. This is my setup. I basically have microphone, I have another stand right behind it, and that stand has a couple of different things. I have a setup for a phone or a setup for an iPad that I can have. So let's look at the mixing board. So what I have is a Yamaha MG12XU, but you can use any mixing board. First thing I did is I have an output for headphones. You're gonna have that. Second thing is that you need to have your stereo out. I'm only running 2 channels. Channel 1 is microphone, channel 2 is guitar. The key here is having your outputs from 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch. Now I had to make a modification here where I actually had to have 2 male parts. So the first thing you need to have is this cable right here. It's about $15 on Amazon, but the key to this is that it's called a TRRS to TRS connection. So the TRRS is this right here. It stands for tip, ring, ring, sleeve. And you'll notice that there's 3 lines on here. Most connections actually only have 2. The 2 is for your audio out. The third one actually accommodates for a microphone. In other words, you're essentially going to override the microphone on your device. If you're using an iPhone and you don't have a headphone jack, you're going to need the adapter. You can buy the lightning adapter on Amazon for like $8. iPhone 6 or earlier, you can plug this directly in. If you have an iPad, you should still be able to plug this directly in. If you have an iPhone 7 or higher, then you're going to need to basically plug this end into this end, and then you'll plug the lightning adapter into your phone. Instead of using the external microphone, you'll actually be able to use this interface that pulls the signal that's coming from the mixing board and going straight into the microphone. That's the easy part. The rest is kind of complicated, and I'm going to tell you why. I'll attach pictures along with this video to show some of the settings that I'm using. I go off of what sounds good. If it sounds good, then I know that I'm doing it right. You can only have so many dBs going into your mic input on your iPhone. If you overpower it, it's going to clip and it's going to sound like hell. The settings that I have may or may not necessarily apply, but you're going to see that I have the stereo channel turned about half of what it normally would be. I do have an effects return for the reverb. The one that I tend to use the most is called Reverb Stage 1, and it sounds pretty good. Channel 1 and Channel 2 set up, ready to go. The key here is that the gain needs to be turned down fairly significantly, otherwise it's just going to be too loud. All you're doing is adjusting the mix with these, the signal output with these, the overall output with this that goes into that then goes directly into that. Now let's talk about getting set up. Okay, so as you can see here, I actually have my iPad set up, and I'm going to go through a couple of steps because I have to show you something that's interesting that came up recently. Now this is a glitch, and it's probably going to get fixed eventually, but in the meantime, if you try this in the next week, month, or however long it takes for it to get fixed. This is one more thing that you need to know about when you're getting set up, specifically for Facebook Live. First off, we need to get our connections. This is going to be plugged directly into the iPad. And it goes just like your headphones would. And then we take our male adapter that we needed to get from our extension that goes from the stereo output of the mixer, and it comes directly into here. So now we are connected. One key thing that I figured out is that you need to make sure that you have it plugged in prior to. Otherwise, the external mic will more than likely override the live feed that you start with Facebook. So make sure that you have everything plugged in first. The other thing is a lot of people had questions, and it took me forever to figure it out too, is if you want to do it in landscape mode, which most people want to do, then you actually need to have it set in landscape mode first before you actually start the live feed. So a quick note about Facebook Live. The first thing you need to do is you need to determine whether or not you want to do your post specific to someone. The trick here is to have a partner. Get a musician buddy of yours or anyone who's got a decent ear for music, and they can probably help you real quick, because if it's clipping and it sounds horrible, they're gonna know immediately. You're gonna at least be able to adjust the decibels that's going in, turn it down, and then work on perfecting the sound afterwards. The whole process, once I got my buddy involved, who happens to be a musician, he actually took it, said, here's what you do. Tweak this, tweak that, more verb, less guitar, just like you're doing a sound check. Was able to actually knock that out in about 10 minutes. For me, going back and forth between several videos testing it out, it took like 2 hours. And I still didn't get it 100% right. One of the things that you need to do if you want to play the right way, especially if you have the camera facing you so you can see comments, is you hit this little button right here. You hit the settings button that down here, it looks like a couple little tools, and then you hit the button that is left and right. This is up and down, and then this is a filter. But I'm going to show you something that's not too pleasant. When you flip the screen, it flips it, but it actually puts this really weird green filter on it. Nobody knows what it is. It's a glitch. Several of my friends have experienced it that have been doing live streaming, and then I was racking my brain trying to figure it out because it's so new, it's not quite on the internet yet, and there wasn't any explanations on Google. So here's the fix. Right here in the middle, there's another layer of filters. These filters do all kinds of different things. You can have different settings that'll do weird stuff. You can see the green screen's off, but I don't like having 3 faces of me on here. Or you can pick a red filter. But if you pick this one that looks like a landscape, it puts it back into normal mode and it basically overrides that green filter. Without it though, you'd be driving yourself nuts going, why is this thing not working? It happens on all devices, whether it's an iPhone, an iPad, or anything that you're using. So far I've seen it's been happening on Android too. I don't know 100%. You may have to correct me on that. If anyone has comments, you want to leave that in there, let me know. We'll update it from there. However, for the purposes of this video right now in 2020, it's causing a problem. So whether it's an update from Facebook or whether it's an update from Apple or who knows what it is, I believe it's a Facebook glitch. I can't confirm 100%. The key here is to going from the only me post to the add a friend post. You add that to that one person, text them, give them a call, say I'm jumping on right now, and in about 10 minutes you get your sound, you get your reverb, you get all of it. If you have this thing turned up too loud, it's going to clip and it's going to be a real pain, and you're going to play a live show without knowing it, and then everyone's going to be going, I can't hear you, or it's cutting out, or whatever it may be. Yesterday I actually did this, had great sound, played the first 2 songs, it was awesome, and then all of a sudden it just like started getting choppy and it cut out, and then I played for like 20 minutes, and then at the end the last 3 minutes was fine. I don't know what happened, but we'll talk about that next. So the first thing I want to talk about is your router. I happen to have an Airport. This goes along with my cable modem. This is what sends the wireless signal out. I would suggest that you go ahead, reset the router before you get going, just to make sure that you've bounced it and it's clear. You don't have to do this, but it may help. So a couple of quick things to wrap up on what I've done. We started off with some devices, talked about the setup that I've got here, a couple of mic stands, an iPhone, an iPad, whatever device you decide you want to use, a mixing board. You need to have the TRRS to TRS cable. If you've got an iPhone 7 or later, you need the lightning adapter for headphone jack. Other than that, bring your own device, bring your own instrument, bring your own vocals, bring whatever you want. Depending on which platform you use, they should all work the same way. So, key things: make sure that you have it plugged in before you get started on the live stream so you don't have the external mic overriding. Second thing, get a buddy. Test out the sound. Make sure it's not too loud. Make sure it's not clipping. You don't want to go live and have a bunch of people on there and you start performing and then they can't hear you. That happened to me. Last thing is that if it doesn't work on one device, try another. The first one I didn't want to mess with the lightning adapter because I thought maybe there was something wrong with it. So I used an old iPhone 5S that had the actual headphone input. It worked great, but then it started getting glitchy in the middle of the feed. So I'm thinking that it could have been the phone. Couple things you want to do. Make sure you have no background apps running on the device. You want to make sure that you've got plenty of memory on the phone. Make sure that you've got a great Wi-Fi signal. Make sure you bounce the router. These are all things to think about. If you're clean and you're clear, then you should be good. If you've got anyone else in the house and they're streaming a movie, that might affect the signal that's going in if you don't have the best Wi-Fi. So anyway, hopefully this has been helpful. Like I said, the only reason why I'm even making this, I've never even really done a how-to video. I'm not an expert. I'm just someone that's slightly tech savvy, a little bit nerdy enough to do this kind of thing, and I can video edit a little bit. So I thought, hey, you know what? There might be other people out there with questions like me, and this might make it a little bit easier. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. I'd appreciate the follow. I'm actually a musician. You can follow me at musicbychance.com. I currently have a single out called Every Step. I also have a band called Red Dirt Outlaws, rdioband.com. Check us out. We're a southern rock country band doing a whole lot of new stuff and have an album coming out in the summer. So hey, hope this was helpful for you guys. Check out my YouTube videos online. I've got the official video for Every Step, and we'll be having more stuff coming out very soon. Oh, and one more thing. Hit subscribe for me. I'd appreciate the follow. Got a lot of new music coming out this year and I'm excited to share it. We'll see you guys.
Yeah, I will. Too loud a guitar, okay. See, because yesterday, so the vocal and the guitar are at the same level, so if I need to turn it down more, let me know. I thought I had these levels right yesterday, but because when I listened to the playback of the stuff that actually worked in the first two songs yesterday, I couldn't hear the guitar enough, or maybe the guitar was fine and my vocal was too loud to begin with, so it was out of balance. Did the verb on the vocal come out better? Because it sounds pretty echoey in my headphones. Okay, I just saw your text message. Sounds good, guitar's too loud. I turned the guitar down though. Memories like fingerprints slowly raising me wouldn't recall, for I'm not my former. It's hard when you're stuck upon the shelf. Well, I'm changed by not changing at all. Small town predicts my fate. Okay, we'll try that. Well, I guess that's what no one wants to be. Well, I just want to scream hello. My God, it's been so long. Never dreamed you'd return, but now here you are. Here I am. Hearts and thoughts, they fade away. 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 Our hearts and thoughts, they fade away. 'Cause you never really know how you can fly. 'Cause you never